Okay, welcome everybody. It's time for the Saturday edition of the Agnihotra Ladies, the Cosmic Clinic. I'm the Agnihotra Lady, and we're broadcasting live at Shantivilla Institute. We're at the Shantivilla Atlanta location, the location located in Conyers. As you know, the main campus, Shantivilla Institute, is in historic Tuskegee, Alabama, right up the street from Tuskegee University. And so tonight's talk is called In the Beginning Was the Atom. In the beginning was the atom. So we're going to start off as usual with the Viruti mantra, and then we'll jump right into the talk. Okay, so let me make sure I have enough ghee in here so this can burn for a while. And then we can start to talk. Okay, so tonight's topic is In the Beginning Was the Atom. And so we're very happy to be sharing the message this evening. As you know, at Shanti Institute, we teach the ancient Ayurvedic teachings of Agnihotra, which is a purification that is done with the copper pyramid. We put in dried cow dung, rice, and ghee inside the copper pyramid, and this is done at sunrise, sunset. We light a fire at the exact time of sunrise or sunset, and then we chant a Sanskrit mantra. And so there's a exchange of beautiful, powerful energy that comes from the sun and the solar system interacts with the copper pyramid. And there's a healing that takes place, a rejuvenation of the planet, all the microbes, flora, fauna on the planet. And of course, we the humans that live on the planet, we benefit from that purification and healing also. So it's a beautiful practice that has been scientifically proven to reverse pollution, and it also heals human beings and plants. And it's just a wonderful practice that anyone can practice in the comfort of their home, or you can do this at a park or in the parking lot of where you work or wherever. This is a great way to relieve the pollution of the planet and to ease the stress of your mind, because there's so many things that happen to our bodies and to our minds because of the pollution and all the things that we do, all of our activities that are not natural to the balance of the planet functioning in the way that it's supposed to. So what I wanted to do was talk about the atom, something that is basic that we probably have learned about, or maybe we forgot about it, depending on how long we've been out of high school. We learned this in high school about atoms and how they operate within our bodies and with all of the living things on the planet. But the next following talks, I'm going to be talking about a different element of the five elements. We talk about earth, wind, fire, water, and the ether. Ether's outer space. And I wanted to directly talk about how pollution affects each of the five elements and how Agnihotra has an impact on dealing with the things that happen to each of the five elements. So before we can even get into any of that, I said, well, let me talk about the basic building blocks of the planet, the atom. Okay, so the atom, it was there, of course, in the beginning. So that's the very foundation of life. And so that means that it cannot be disrupted. It has to be maintained because as the basic building block of the planet, any disruption to the atoms, it disrupts all of nature. It disrupts the functioning of our bodies and how we think. And for those of us that are trying to raise our vibration and our consciousness, it affects that as well too. So the atoms are everything. So it's the beginning, okay, the present, and the future. Okay, that's present in the atom. So for you science buffs, you know that most of atoms is contained of an empty space, but within that empty space, there's a place of great awareness. There's a space for the atoms to, of course, be the building blocks that they are of civilization. And those are the building blocks of our human body. So we have to honor that has been created perfect by the creator. Any disruption to that, as we can see now, causes diseases. It causes bad weather. It causes diseases of the mind. It disrupts everything. Every facet of civilization is affected when we disrupt the atom. So let's tie this in because a lot of times people think that science is separate from spirituality or from higher consciousness, but no, science and spirituality, they're right there together. Okay, it's the same. It's just all in understanding what really is taking place on the most minute level, things that you cannot see with the naked eye. So I mentioned before that most of the atom is consisted of empty space. And so, for those of us that meditate, what you're really doing is when you're meditating, the purpose of that is to still yourself, to pause your mind from all of these thoughts. Some of them can be negative, which there's a lot of negativity in the world now with all these headlines and stuff. But what you're really trying to do is trying to get to that still state of the atom. So within that empty space of the atom, when you're closing your eyes, when you're meditating and you're being still, you're mimicking that atom. And so within that stillness, this is where all of the communication, all of the information is given to you within that stillness. And as atoms kind of act with the mind of their own, and they do these different things, and they facilitate the processes of our bodies and all the things that happen in nature. So understand when you are meditating and you're closing your eyes and you're sitting still, you basically are tapping into the building block of you as a human being, as an energy being. Okay. And so once you tap into that stillness, okay, I mean, even if you can just pause your mind for 2 minutes, because it's kind of hard to take all the thoughts out of your mind, that minute, that 2 minutes, that 3 minutes, that is necessary for you to get to that stillness, to get into the atomic nature of your existence, which is the divine power. And then from there, you get into the physics, into the subatomic regions of what you hear physicists talking about. Okay, so all of that is based on Vedic teachings. Okay, so when you're meditating, you're trying to block everything out, from the outside interacting with what you hear and what you see, which is why you close your eyes. But with enough meditation and practicing pranayama breathing and yoga, you're able to meditate. At some point, we can meditate without even closing our eyes, because meditation is not about closing your eyes and you're sitting there. Okay, it's about creating that stillness and really getting out of that non-thinking state. And you've heard me recently talking about not the non-thinking way of being, going beyond your senses and going beyond the five elements, because that's another layer of understanding. And so we measure our understanding upon tests to get us into college, or what position we hold at certain companies, or what knowledge that we get from books. That is how we measure quote unquote intelligence in this human world, because of our understanding of these books and things that are written in the books. But what I'm talking about is when you get on a subatomic level, when you get into a meditation state, which really is akin more to going into a trance on the subatomic level. This is where you tap in into the highest vibration of the universe. Yes, that vibration of love. Okay. And this goes beyond any title, any book, any accolades, and all these different degrees that we say, here, you mastered this, you've read this book, you have this degree. And it's too bad this society, everything's measured on that, but we're not measured upon what we have learned beyond the five senses, touch, taste, smell, what we hear, and the beyond the five elements, earth, wind, fire, and ether, outer space. Because really, going beyond the modern science is the true science. When you get into the subatomic, which people are still confused, how come on the subatomic level, what you do right here, it mimics all the way across space and is duplicated. This action happens way over here, and then it's also affected by if you're observing. They still haven't figured that out, but that's where we get away from the books. And so technology and science can explain those things. However, when you tap into the atomic self, the subatomic self, through meditation, through pranayamic breathing, through yoga, then is the real learning. And you have to empty your mind of all of the knowledge that society has told you, become ignorant, so that way you can be transformed. They teach you that energy never dies, it is transformed. And so there's with these de-education of ourselves, when we get away from what we've gotten a degree in, what we've read in books, what job title, what the occupation that we have that we're working, when we get away from all of that and deconstruct all of that and become ignorant, become innocent as babies, and become blank slates, that is when true understanding happens, and revealing of the true knowledge. And that's what we're talking about. So in the beginning, there was the atom. In the beginning, the building block of all of civilization, of all the planets and solar systems and galaxies. So when we're talking about deeper understanding, and mind you, meditation, as I said before, is not merely just closing your eyes and sitting there. It's going deep within into the inner awareness, that stillness of the atom, which is the essence of the divine creator. This is the process of meditation. And when you go deeper, when you get into the trance-like state, then we're talking about interstellar communication, visiting other planets and solar systems. This is when we get deeper still within the things that are activated through deep, deep meditation. And mind you, most people, like I said, think of meditation as just simply closing your eyes. But we're talking about a stillness that is congruent with what it is to be within outer space, to travel outside of our human bodies, to be stillness, to be one with the universe and the creator. So that is the stillness that we're talking about. So meditation allows for that deep awareness, and it allows for that interplanetary communication and the travel. So in the beginning, we have the word, we have time, we have space, and we have the atom. And for those of you all who have studied Yogananda's teachings, his teacher, Sri Yustra, wrote in the Holy Science book. I think he wrote this book. Oh, I can't remember when this book was written, but he talks about word, time, space, and the atom. All these things are the same. We call them different words, but he has teachings in that book that talk about how word, time, space, and the atom are all one. There's no difference. So when we say to understand the importance of the atom, to understand that atoms are the building block of civilization, that the building blocks of you, they are the way that we express our consciousness, how we up our vibration, how we understand and have our intuition. When we know when we walk in a room and there's some negativity there, we need to get out of there. Someone's not quite right. This intuition is based on this principle that Yogananda's teacher, Sri Yustra, talks about. So the atom is the essence of your understanding. How can we understand when we disrupt that which is the building block of everything, the atom? In the beginning was the atom. So if you like to study the Holy Science book, where he gets very detailed into all those things. So we are here to simplify these ancient teachings so that you understand that in the simplicity is all the magnificence of the power of understanding. That everything you think you don't know and you don't understand, if you go inward, it all becomes evident if you can sit still. So remember, meditation, you are trying to mimic that, the most of the emptiness that the atom has. Okay? And the atom, once you can get into the state of the atom, then we can get into the subatomic level. Okay? Which really increases the understanding of all there is and what there is to be. So when you talk about people knowing about something, a future event that happens, this is what they've tapped into. This is the essence of the Vedas, the Vedic sciences, okay? And you won't read this in any modern day science books. Okay, this is the science of yourself. The science of the very beginning of time, before time, and the present moment. Okay? So in Agnihotra, how all this ties in is so beautiful because of the pollution, which affects everything. Okay, we're talking about the atmosphere. So we're going to start with that element: atmosphere, the prana, and I've talked about this before. Prana, which pervades your body and everything and throughout this planet and extends into the universe. Okay, pollution affects that. And so because of the atmosphere is messed up, then of course our minds. And so we're here to say that this gift of Agnihotra, which was resuscitated from the Vedas by Paramasaguru Sri Gajana Maharaj, this gift, which gets back to the simplicity of keeping the atoms back in balance. So when we're performing Agnihotra and the other home of fires, Agnihotra is the basic home of fire. we are setting the atoms back into their natural state. If you heard me talk about ions, okay, and how because of the displacement of the ions, how there's an imbalance of everything, how the sun hits the earth and then interact with the plants, and the plants absorb that energy. When you have a disruption of the atoms, that is affected. Let me repeat that again. So the sun is meant to give us power and energy. The sun powers our bodies. We're energetic bodies. When we talk about our chakras and the nadi system that flows throughout our bodies, when we're doing pranayamic breathing, yoga, meditation, we're we're activating all the atoms within the nadi system. We got about 72,000 nerves within that nadi system. And we talk about 7 basic chakras. There are more than that. But your body, okay, has ports. And these atoms are the ports. So when we talk about your chakras and the nadi system being activated, these atoms are there. Pollution disrupts the atoms. Okay, and I just said to you that the atoms are the building block of everything. Okay, so when we perform Agnihotra, we are protecting the atoms. And so within an 8-mile radius, 8 miles up, 2 miles around, 8 miles up, 2 miles around, we're able to put the atoms back into the proper sequence. We're able to, on an atmospheric level, we're able to get rid of pathogenic bacteria. We can get the SO2, the sulfur oxide, out of the atmosphere, and the NO2, the nitrous oxide. And those two chemicals I just said, they have caused people that normally don't have asthma to have more respiratory problems, and causes people that do have asthma to have more asthma attacks, and more severe, especially in children. So this is what the pollution is doing. So when you're doing the Agnihotra on the atmospheric level, like I said, it goes 8 miles up, 2-mile radius. We're cleansing out the bacteria. And there have been scientific studies that I've cited, my gosh, for several years, that talk about the SO2, sulfur oxide, and the NO2, the nitrous oxide levels being reduced, greatly reduced, because of the performance of Agnihotra. And we have to have clean air. So forget that this causes respiratory problems, asthma, any kind of breathing problems. They've increased now. I've talked to doctors that say that they're in crisis. It's at children, especially in the low-income neighborhoods, people of color, children that are going hungry, that are living in heavily polluted areas because people dump pollution in these areas that have more pollution. They're suffering more effects and developing asthma more. And they're seeing them more in the emergency room. The doctors have told me this because of man-made activities that we've done to taint the atmosphere. Okay, so what else is happening to the atmosphere when there's pollution? Okay, so the atmospheric pollution, it causes changes in the clouds, weather formations, it affects the tropics, it affects everything, including how we think, because we're breathing in 2,500 gallons of air a day in a 24-hour cycle. So that affects our minds. And I mentioned prana. So I said the atmosphere, prana. Okay. So atmosphere, okay, and prana, okay. These things, I mean, this is the life force we're talking about that is around us. So it affects our thinking, the vibration of us. So atmosphere, we have all these atoms that are disrupted by pollution. And remember what I said in the beginning was the atom. So you have disrupted atoms. What do you think happens when the sun beats down on the planet and gives energy to the plants? The plants can't absorb the energy properly. The atoms are off kilter. And we're energy beings. What happens to our bodies when the sun hits us? Everyone's atoms are disrupted. We've had problems with DNA, with fertility within animals, and with especially with humans. You've seen in the headlines about everything is disrupted. So with the atmospheric pollution, okay, that is what's happening. So with Agnihotra, the more you do this, the more you're cleaning out the SO2 and the NO2, the sulfur oxide and the nitrogen oxide. Okay, you're able to clear up erratic weather, and then you can have proper cloud formation. These are the things that the Agnihotra fire is able to correct and put back in balance. And the atmosphere, our minds are comprised of all these atoms. Once we get the atoms back into the proper alignment, then our thinking becomes clearer. Okay, we can get back to the highest vibration of being, which is the vibration of love. And we're able to get the planet back into the proper equilibrium, put the planet back into balance. So let us think about those things, because it is our actions that are affecting the atoms. Something so small, but something so big, and how we exist. So the atomic level, the subatomic level, this is the level that we want to stay as much on that path as possible as human beings. And that know that on the subatomic level, our energy bodies, our bioplasma bodies, okay, depend on our tapping into the atomic, into the subatomic levels, so that we can communicate on the highest level, okay, to do interplanetary communication and planetary travel, and understand that the atom, which has a mind as its own, that's sort of the behavior of the atom. Just imagine the process of the atom. It acts as if it's a planet and there are orbits inside of it, okay? And all these atoms are within our bodies, within our cells. So we have worlds and galaxies inside of our bodies that the divine creator put there. So we have to keep these worlds intact. And Agnihotra is a way to keep in alignment with the natural order of things and what we are supposed to do and maintain in this lifetime on this planet. So if anyone has any questions, I'm going to pause for a second. I'm about ready to conclude, but I just want to give, if you want to, let me see, is anyone asking a question? Because I can add you to this is StreamYard that I'm on. And you're welcome to, let me see, my mouse is not working. Let me see if anyone's asking any questions. Okay. Give it a few minutes before I close out. I do want to add that, you know, the stillness that I talk about that we need to go into when we meditate is the way the modern world is, our work system, people working long hours and just the type of occupations that we have, it's not conducive to being within that stillness. It actually goes against the essence of that. So we have to make sure that we have a work-life balance so that we can go into stillness at various times throughout the day. So the cosmic clinic hours, as we've talked about on numerous occasions, at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., sunrise, 10 a.m., 12 noon, 3 p.m., and at sunset. So these are times that you can do various homifires. And if you're not near a fire, then you can just sit still. You can chant a Sanskrit mantra if you like, or just simply sit still. So these are the stillness moments that you can adopt starting today. Okay, so I don't think I have any questions coming in. And I just wanted to share this message with you. We're so happy to share it with you. And as always, you can go to Shanti, Shanti, villainstitute.com to order any of our books and Agnihotra supplies. So we have dried cow dung, okay, which is what we use for Agnihotra. And we have The Secret Science of Mudras, which talks about how the power of mudras to help with some common health ailments. And mudras are movements you do with your fingers and hands that connect with the nerves in your body, the nadi system, and they bring about a healing within the body. And then, of course, we have Agnihotra kits, okay, with the copper pyramid. Let me take it out the box. So we got a copper pyramid, spoon and stand. Everything's copper. We have the cup. We have the tongs, and then we have the tray. And then it comes with a booklet too. Oh my goodness, let me see if I can find the booklet. It comes with the teaching booklet. Oh goodness. Let me show you the book. Okay, is this the booklet? I believe this is the booklet. And it comes with a booklet that allows you to be able to teach directly to anyone. If you're a yoga teacher or you teach your health coach or psychotherapist, you're able to teach from that booklet. So that's the Agnihotra kit. And I am taking appointments for pranayama deep breathing classes, yoga. I have garden workshops available here at the Conyers location, Shantivilla in Atlanta. And we still are closed at our main campus, Shantivilla Institute in Tuskegee. But as always, I appreciate you for joining me this evening. And feel free to DM me or call or email me. The email is shantivillainstitute@gmail.com. Our phone number is 334-740-6440. And I appreciate you. I love you. And I will see you the next time.